And we are back to our 2NL Bankroll challenge here on PokerStars Zoom. Let's see if we can do a bit better than last time. Last time was absolute carnage if you watched it. I really didn't do very well there. Everything went against us. I just couldn't win a pot. And so, unfortunately, we are slightly in the minus for this challenge. So, I'm trying to claim some money back, and I'm gonna do this by, for example, opening 8-7 suited here, which I normally wouldn't necessarily open, but I thought let's give it a try. Near on the right table I open Jack 9 off, but I have to fold, and we are going to c-bet range in position on Ace King Jack. We got called very quickly, which means that he probably has some sort of a hand, but we are still going to go for a triple barrel. We didn't overbet this one, didn't need to triple barrel. So when he calls very quickly, he could have an ace there. He could, of course, just have a king or a jack or some sort of a draw. So that's why I continued barreling. And we got him to fold on the turn pretty quickly. 10-9 suited, gonna open this in the cutoff. We have a limper on the button here on the left table. Let's just check this one. And with flop bottom pair, not going to bet it. I probably will have the best hand, but I don't think we can get called by a lot worse. And here on the right table, just folding 10-7 offsuit. And now we still only have, well, not still, we now only have third pair. Still no point in going for value. I don't really know by what weaker hand I could get called there. So he actually had a 5, so maybe we could have gotten some value out of him, but that's kind of the only hand there, and there would have been hands that could have called, so that's why I didn't want to go for a thin value bet. Here with the 9s, I'm going to call. This guy, we can mark him as a slightly passive player. Just called there. Here, this guy goes small. I'm definitely going to call with my overpair. The queen's not a good card for our hand, not great for our range either. Here on the right, we have to check. And the problem is when he now bets almost pot at this point, I need to fold. I wish that 9 were here on this one, but unfortunately I will have to let go of my pocket 9s when he makes it so big. Okay. We are going to open 7-5 suited because there is a weak player in the big blind. And here now this guy bets half pot. Oh, I mean, it's possible that he has nothing, but look how quickly everyone folded when I had queens. But I think I will, not I think, I am going to fold. I did fold because I don't think that we are going to be good there too often, and we might face a river bet, so there is no point in that. Look at this one here. This guy now just shoves there, and I think this is one where I will have to fold, unfortunately. So yes, he could have ace king, but he could have all sorts of pairs, and usually those pairs will be bigger than mine. So I will unfortunately have to let it go. And same with the 7 high here with 2 backdoors, but not even great backdoors. So definitely not much I can do. I just have to fold. Yeah, so the pocket 9's hand is an interesting one because I think a lot of players would actually call here. They would talk themselves into thinking, sorry, I'll continue soon. I'm going to check this one, my top set. And now I will have to start going for value. I am going to overbet this one. I might not really get called, but a flush draw might call and a queen might call, but unfortunately nothing there. This guy now bets pretty big. We have a bluff catcher, definitely going to call. with our 10-7 there, and he now checks after he bet big on the flop. No reason to go for a bet on the river, just checking and hoping to see a cheap showdown, which we do, but unfortunately we lose. Okay, so here when this guy jams Jack 9 suited, we can try to get him to fold. So a lot of players will talk themselves into, well, he must have ace king when he jams there. And yes, a big portion of his range will be ace king. However, against ace king, we're only really sorry, just being distracted here. So we're still only just over 50%, maybe 54% favorite or so. And he does have pocket tens, pocket jacks in his range, and possibly even queens, kings. So even though it seems unlikely that he would have a big pair, he could still have a pair that's bigger than ours. And I doubt that he has a lot of weaker pairs than ours. A lot, maybe eights, but most players wouldn't even do this with eights, but they definitely would do it with tens and jacks. And then tens, jacks, ace, king, and the odd queens or kings, we're just not doing very well. And so there is no reason to call there. Here we got called, and we got called by the... We got cold called, actually, but thankfully we managed to get him to fold on the flop with our range bet. So ace-3 suited in the big blind. This will be a defend against the normal raise. Pocket 8's definitely opening, and yes, here, so we can defend ace-3 suited, and we're flopping the flush draw. He makes it small. We could go either way here. We could just call, we could raise. I'm gonna just call this time. The Queen of Hearts is not amazing. However, what I will do now is I will donk this one, and I will donk it to 2/3, and then I'm gonna bet the river as well. So I don't need to donk here, but when the top card pairs, we do have a bit more Queen X than he does. And we do get him to fold, and this is basically what I wanted. Even though I had the nut flush draw, but I'm not a proponent of trying to make the pot big in case we hit, because we're probably not gonna hit. Chances are not amazing to hit a flush draw on once we're on the turn. We have about 18 or 19% to hit it, so I don't want to inflate the pot just to in case I hit there. I want to win without showdown. Someone very smart once said that if you need to make a hand to win at poker, then you're essentially gambling, and that is so true. So we're trying to win with the red line. We're trying to get players to fold rather than to win at showdown. Of course, sometimes it's nice to win at showdown with a big hand, but we haven't had a lot of big hands in quite a while now. I think in the last session, I don't know if I had any big hand. It was an absolutely atrocious session. And here we are going to call ace deuce suited. And he does not bet, and no reason to bet, even though we have 3 pair now, more than we need. And now we do have the ace, and I think now we can go for a bet. I am going to bet this one. Okay, this guy went all in here with his, and we have pocket tens. Against this range we are actually doing all right, but not amazing. Just wanted to check. He had pocket tens here. And yeah, I mean, this guy jammed 10-5 offsuit. And look at that. He did get the 10 and the 5, but we flopped. Sorry, I'm just being distracted. This guy limped. I isolated him with my pocket threes, and we got a raise there. Small one he calls, so definitely going to call for this tiny amount. Unfortunately, this is the wrong board for our hand, so we will just have to fold. Easy fold in this case. Yeah, here I am going to fold my ace-7 off. Here we could king-7, I will just fold it. Here, when this non-crusher raises king-8, is just about a call. If he c-bets, we will fold. And that's exactly what's happening. Okay, this is good because I wouldn't really have loved calling there with king-8 suited, but folding would also have seemed nitty, but now we can definitely fold. It's an easy one. A7 off is another one that annoyingly I have to fold. It's just not good enough to 4-bet bluff. Here we have another limper, but with this hand I'm not even going to get involved. We get called and we have the ace, and on this sort of board I will typically use an overbet or check strategy. I will check here because I think our opponent can make some mistakes, and we are going to range bet on the left and we are going to call on the right, and we got called here, so I'm going to go 12, and here half pot, definitely calling with ace jack. He can have a lot of air in his range, and he did actually have the ace there, but a weak ace, and I am okay with what we got out of this hand. And on the left table, also very pleased with the fold that we got there with our double barrel. Oh yeah, going all right now, I would say. Won one showdown with pocket 10s against 10-5 off, pre-flop all in, and the rest was non-showdown, I think, and 10-8 suited is good enough to call even in a multi-way pot, but we are flopping absolute garbage. Not even a backdoor flush draw. And at this point, we could try to get them to fold, but I will check. Actually, I should probably have bet and then just bet really big on the river. And now when this guy makes it 2 big blinds, he's fairly tight. I don't think I can actually get him to fold, so I think I made a bit of a mistake there. But I'm going to raise ace-7 offsuit, and we are getting the fold here. I'm going to isolate this recreational player who is, well, I'm actually not sure if he is a recreational player. I marked him as being a non-crusher, but his stats actually suggest that he is a reg. But either way, we did get it down and all good. Okay, king 8 is not good enough. King 10 I would have opened, but not after someone else opened. Jack 10 suited, definitely an open on any position at 6 max. Okay, so this is another one here. A lot of players would just call 1.5 here, go see a flop multi-way, but that would be a mistake. That's just burning money, and I absolutely want to get out of this hand. Ace 10 here, this one is one. We could go either way. I am going to c-bet small, just c-betting range, even though this board is actually not bad for him, but he could have king 10, jack 10, 10, 9, all sorts of things, so that's why I bet. But now, obviously, I need to slow down. River is not great. And speaking of not great, the flop here on the left is not great. I'm just going to check behind against 2 players with not even a backdoor flush draw, I will not do much. I will check, and here on the right, when he bets so small, he could of course have a 4, but I mean, there's definitely no way I'm folding, definitely calling here. And yet pocket jacks, wow, look at that. He just called with pocket jacks in the small blind when I raised on the button. So that is going to get a mention here. Okay, here we can probably fold. Ace 4 off is a fold. And we do not have much going, and this guy is rather short, not going to do much. Okay, here we're going to fold. Okay, called jacks in SB versus button steal. Okay, pocket hands and pocket queens. Let's see if we get some action. We do. Here on the left, on the right, sorry, I'm going to just range bet. On the left, I am going to range bet as well, even though it's not great in both cases. We do get called in both cases, and what we'll do is we'll just check in on both boards. And once he checks again here on the right, I am going to go for thin value this time. And here he bets pretty big, saying that he has a deuce basically and nothing else. And I think I have to call this one, even though it is a big bet. And he seems to be quite tight, but I think 33% of the time I will be good. Probably not a lot more. I don't expect to win a ton here, but I do expect to win. And he had the, wow, 4-5. Okay. So, yeah, that's also a hand that I actually didn't say that he could have, but obviously he can have that. Now we have a straight on this one. Unfortunately, he folded. Yeah, I didn't really think that one through, that he could have a straight as well there, but basically he was saying he has a straight or a deuce or better, because he wouldn't have bet a king that big, and he got his gut shot there on the turn, and sadly I paid him off, but I think it's okay. Queen 8, I am just going to raise it, although in GTO terms it's a tiny mistake to raise that, but I do think it's alright against tight and not great players in the blinds. Ace King suited. Okay, Queen Jack off. This is, I would normally 3-bet it, but this guy is short stacked and I don't want to play that necessarily, even though I have position. And we are getting the raise in the small blind, definitely 3-betting, and we're getting the fold. King Jack off, we're not going to continue, just going to fold here in the small blind. Well, now definitely after the 3-bet. King Queen offsuit. And pocket deuces on the left table. Going to raise them up for a change. This one's definitely marginal, but you can raise. And we're getting 3-bet by this guy. And I am going to put in this light 4-bet now. And you can sometimes do it with some pocket pairs, and whether I have 7s or deuces doesn't make that much of a difference, which is why I did do it this time against a player who seems to 3-bet quite a bit. He did call, and here I'm going to call on the right table, so I'm going to go with a small bet, and we flop 2 pair, and we get him to fold on the left. That's excellent. Right, so we're going for the check raise, but unfortunately no one did that. Now with 2 flush draws out there, I am definitely going for an overbet. I think we can get called by a lot of hands. By any ace, but even by a jack potentially. Definitely weaker two pairs and flush draws, but unfortunately no one seemed to have anything, which is why they folded. Okay, king queen. Let's open this one up. Get called. This is a good board for our range. I am still going to check. I used to just bet a lot in these spots. Now with the heart there, I will probably not get a lot of value out of him. So I will have to let him bluff. The problem is now when he bets just this one big blind, this is quite annoying because I don't expect him to bet much on this river. And indeed, he just checked. And what did he have? He had a jack. I don't think I could have gotten a lot more money out of him anyway. If I check raise the turn there, he'll probably fold. Yes, maybe if I had just bet the turn myself, maybe that would have helped. But I think that wasn't worth it. Here we have showdown value, I would say, and I don't think we can get him to fold much anyway. Like if he has a 10, he will still call, and therefore I will just check behind. And unfortunately, with this run out, we chop against a weaker ace. Ace 9 off on both, but here on the right it's a bit too early to raise it up. Left table definitely defending ace 9 off. Jack 5 suited will be a raise. He bets half pot there. Here on the left I'm going to check raise this one, but here I'm going to fold. And now he didn't take the bait, so now what I'm going to do is overbet. Yeah, this is not great. The problem is I would have gone for another bet, but the problem is now that he called so quickly he will almost certainly have some sort of a pair here, and so I have to check because I don't think I can get him to fold. Yeah, so pocket sevens is one of those. Here on the left, I'm gonna start with a range bet. This guy cold called our 3-bet, and I am going to bet again because I can get ace highs to fold. Not much more, but definitely ace highs. Okay, he bets pot. Not great. It's quite marginal against pot. We have bottom pair, but I am going to peel one. And now that he bets pot again, unfortunately, this is a fold. Ace king suited. And everybody folds. Like, it is insane. Like, whenever I have aces, kings, queens, and ace king, there is such a high chance that everyone folds, especially with aces. I think about 7 out of the last 10 times this was the case. Here we have the jack high flush draw, which is drawing to the second nuts. I am going to start with a small bet because I can fold out a lot of stuff, and I'm very happy about that. Okay, jack 10, too early, and the low jack to raise. And now some terrible hands in the big blind. Won't do anything. Okay, ace king again. Actually, to be fair, with ace king, I do want folds in general. I'm happy if people fold. That's not a hand that I want calls with necessarily. Okay, here I'm going to just check. Okay, so we got this guy who seems could be a bit on the aggro side, and he now called 4 bets. But the thing is, I will just never fold. We are quite deep. I am going to call there. And he now bets big here on this river. And what can he have? The thing is, he did bet quite big. We're losing to a 10. He says he has a 10 there, which, okay, let's believe him. And this guy now goes pretty big, 20 into 50. In a 4-bet pot, I think. Yes, we could have the same hand, but I am going to fold. That's why I said I don't really want calls when I have ace king. I mean, I don't mind to get calls, although in this case it wasn't even a call because we got 4-bet. But it's definitely a call there. I can't fold pre-flop. And here 8-6 would normally fold, but not to such a small bet. And here pocket 8s is a hand that I am happy to 3-bet. He called me here on the right, going for 3/4 bet. Here on the we get the fold. Here on the left, I'm going for the range bet. He calls, and at this point, I have some showdown value. Not a lot, to be fair, but we win against some ace highs. Can we get him to fold if we jam? He could. He might fold. He's got 9, 10, 9. There is not a lot that I can get him to fold, I'm afraid. And this one is good that I didn't. Here on the right against 2 players, we're out of position. I don't really want to put a lot of money in. And now that this guy called his bet, I am going to just fold. So yeah, this guy called, well, where was it with the pocket 8s? 9-7 suited. So he raised with 9-7 suited under the gun, called a 3-bet out of position. Wow, okay. So he's getting the tag of someone who's not amazing. Okay, we're getting 3-bet, have to fold ace-deuce, which was a marginal open anyway, but against weak players I like to actually open, not necessarily any 2, but a wider range than GTO. 3-deuce off, unfortunately we cannot defend this one, pocket 3s against short stack there, now going to fold. And everyone folds to our raise with ace-queen. Ace-jack suited now on the button. Come on, let's go. We have a good situation to squeeze, I believe, because this guy made it quite small there, and then the small blind called. So this was easy money. Pocket 6s have to fold, unfortunately. Pocket 5s I'm going to raise, and 9-8 suited is also a raise this time because we have a very tight player in the big blind, but we're getting punished straight away by this player here who 3-bets us. And because he makes it so big, I will not call. If he made it 7.5, I could have considered, but definitely not against this big size. King 9 suited again. This time it is a call. We flop top pair, but we're not too proud of our kicker. Let's see, do not have much info about this player. Definitely nothing else to do than to call on this flop. The turn brings in the flush draw, or brings in the flush rather. He checks, and the problem is now we do not have that much showdown value, I'm afraid. So, which is why I can go for the overbet here to hope, in the hope to get a better king to fold or an ace to fold, basically anything that doesn't have a club in it. Because you might think we have showdown value there, and we do have some, but the thing is, the only showdown value that we have is against hands that just took a one and done approach, so something like Queen 10, for example, of diamonds. And we get zero action with our pocket kings once again. And here we can 3-bet pocket jacks. And now we got pocket queens. Getting spoiled with these big pairs, but basically no action. And again, everyone just folds. Here we have 2 players who call, and this is just absolutely a horrible flop for us. But what can we do? This is how the game goes. He bets really tiny. I mean, this is already very marginal, but I'm just gonna call just because he made it so tiny. Basically just hoping to turn or river a set at this point. And now that he bets pot, I have to fold. Very annoying. Run out once again. But yeah, so here the king 9. Unless he really had that one and done approach with just anything that didn't connect at all, then we do not have that much fold equity. Sorry, we do not have much showdown equity, I mean. Because if he has a better king or an ace or even a set, we will lose. And if he doesn't have a club and we overbet, then I think we have a very good chance of getting him to fold. And that's why I chose the overbet there, turning a pair into a bluff, which is something that not a lot of players do. But if you can figure out the situations when this is a good play, then it is really a great play, and then you can consider yourself quite advanced. Okay, we are getting 3-bet once again by someone who hasn't 3-bet at all. So definitely have to fold ace-9 off. Was a loose open in the first place, and I seem to get punished every time I make a loose open. We win a hand with a tie because we got a walk. Get a call. This will be a range c-bet. Well, look at this. He donks for over half pot, which is quite weird on such a board. Definitely calling. And he donks as well. And on this, in this case, I'm just gonna call. And here, this guy, I am going to check on the left. He now continues betting. Fine, I am just going to call. And now we have the virtual nuts on the river. And here, no point. I mean, I could get a jack to fold maybe, but I don't even think he has a jack. So I'm happy to... Oh, he does have a jack. Okay. But this one looks quite good. So we have basically the nuts. And he bets big. Well, we have the second nuts. He overbets, but if he has pocket sixes, then fair play to him. And he does not. He has what? He had a straight there. Interesting. That was a very interesting hand to see. Okay, he had 4 deuce of hearts. Oh, okay, I see. So he had a gut shot and a flush draw. Then he hit his gutter on the turn, and then he got really unlucky on the river. But sometimes you have to be lucky, which is why I play this game. Okay, here on the left we can now... I mean, how much showdown equity do we have? I guess not that much again, so I am going to go 2x pot to get him to fold a better ace, basically, which I think is quite likely that he has it without the spade. Here, this guy bets half pot. I am going to call, even though I don't have much going for me, but now I actually even have top pair, but now he bets bigger, so he might have had a flush draw there that he now bets bigger. Now I have to fold, even though I improved, which looks a bit silly because I called when I had nothing and I folded when I made my pair, but things changed because on the flop I thought that I could get it steal it later street because I didn't think he was that strong. But then when he bets big on the turn, when the flush comes in, it did look like he had the flush. 10-9 suited in the small blind, definitely going to open. Got a snap fold from the big blind. And now an ace-king on the right table. This could be an interesting one. But not if everyone folds. Everyone folds again, indeed. 10-7 suited. Loose open here. And we're getting kind of punished again. This is really annoying that he makes it so small. And I'm going to do something quite unusual now. I'm going to 3-bet to 4-bet, and I made it quite big. Obviously, if we get 5-bet, we're out. But because he made it so small, I just don't think he has a big hand. This was just purely exploitative, because normally I would never 4-bet with 10-7 suited. But he made it so small there that I just didn't think that he had that much. Obviously, if he 5-bets now, it's a very different story. But now we have to, we don't have to, but we are going to c-bet this one. And we do have a, sorry, how much is it? 17. Now we do have a gut shot, but that's about it. The problem is we are so deep that I have to call this now. And he now checks, and we still only have a gut shot, so we don't have that much. But I think if I go something like, not 28, but more like 38, I can get him to fold an ace high. Sadly, we do not have much. He did call, and I think at this point I can't get him to fold anything relevant. We don't have enough money behind, so I will have to check. And unfortunately, oh yeah, he did have pocket kings there, so he did make it small with pocket kings. This was actually a bad play on his side, but then again, he did get me to make a mistake. Here I'm going to go for a small bet. He did get me to make the big mistake there with 10-7, but it was not great to just go so small. Well, look at this guy. He now bets pot, which means that he probably has a big hand. I have to call with this straight flush draw of mine. Problem is now flush might not even be good, although I think it would still be good because I don't think he has an 8. And so that's why, yeah, the flush is good. And how can we get him to call something big? Can we overbet? We can overbet. And unfortunately, there's the fold. Okay, this guy now bets. He could easily have an ace, and there's someone behind us. I'm going to fold second pair. And still watching the action. And now we get called here. This is not great. We do have showdown value. We do have a good draw. I'm going to check. He just snap checks this turn. And on this river, no reason not to. Oh, he did get the 5 on the turn. Well, great. That's why sometimes it's good to c-bet the flop. I will often do it, but this time I just took my equity, and it was the wrong choice, unfortunately. Okay, this guy is all in for 2.5 big blinds, and we're getting raised, and we're getting raised quite big. That's quite annoying. So we could be dominated. I have to fold. He won't do this with a bluff, and I'm folding, and yeah, we're dominated by ace jack, so that was a good decision to fold. Okay, 7 deuce. We win a hand with 7 deuce. Excellent. Queen 4 suited, not going to continue. And we have ace king again. Get called. This is not an amazing flop for my hand. He makes it fairly big. Definitely going to call. And if he bets again, I might check raise, which it doesn't do. But at this point, can I get him to fold a 9 or an 8? I might be able to, but I'm taking too long now, and this is a timing tell if I bet big. So yeah, pocket deuce is okay. Yeah, so I thought I was gonna bet, but then I was distracted here on the right, and because of that I then thought it would take too long, but I should just have still gone for it. Unfortunately I did not. 7, we got middle pair. I am going to bet this just because I can fold out hands like queen 10, queen jack, ace 10, whatever, and now this is not a great card, and this is not a great card either, by just checking behind. And he did have, that's exactly the ace 10, it was exactly the type of hand I wanted him to fold. I thought that we would fold on the flop, but I'm okay if he calls, and then he got there in the end, unfortunately. But at least he didn't get any extra money from us. Here I am going to isolate this player. And here I'm going to check on the right. I'm getting called by 2 players. Okay, here on the right now I am going to bet rather big, and I will bet even bigger on the river if he calls the turn, which it doesn't do. And on this board, I'm afraid I will have to check behind. Against 2 players, against 1 player, I would definitely have bet. 10-8, we can open this one. And to check, and now we have to, even though he makes it so small with this hand, I have to fold. And here, there's no point in going for a bet now on the river. And he did have the jack, so I actually had the worst hand there, even pre-flop. 7-6 suited. Let's play our suited connectors. Well, he takes such a long time here. I'm actually going to fold this marginal hand, not going to wait until he finally decides to fold. Okay, got a walk. King 10 off, too early under the gun to open. I've actually played quite a lot of hands, 27-24. 7-4 suited, not against the 3x raise. Just gonna fold that. And we're getting 3-bet once again. Once again, have to fold. Pocket fives. Yeah, even though this guy's short stacked, I'm still gonna go for the 3-bet. Obviously now that he raises us with these stack sizes, I have to fold. And after it was going quite well, we're now not doing super well. I don't even know if we're in positive territory. I think we are probably not. No, we're not. We just gave up quite a bit, annoyingly. This was just not great, and I made a couple of mistakes there where I knew better, but I didn't do the right thing. And then also where the guy with the kings got me to put in a lot of money with my 10-7 suited, so that he owned me in that hand. Okay, this flop on the right is not great because he can have 10s and jacks, but I am still going to range bet this one. Going to go for the 3-bet with ace queen. And at this point, I think I'm okay to just check. But now I think I want to go for a big bet, because yeah, he might have had the same hand, or he might have had a pocket pair that he will let go for this 2x bet, and even a 10 he will probably fold. So that's why I went for the big bet there. 9-10 jack, this is not a good card, definitely, and now the 10 pairs on the river. He bets pretty, well, not pretty big, half pot. And what could he have? That he can just have anything, but he's quite a tight player. I think this will be a disciplined fold, because he can do this with a jack, with a 9, he can have a 10 if he had queen 10, king 10, all sorts of hands. I only have ace high, all I beat is like complete nonsense, and I think I have to fold. Okay, gonna make this my last orbit. Pocket sevens. Okay, here I'm going to c-bet this one. Normally out of position, I let them goof off some money, but I think here this is quite good for me. And so is this flop. And now I'm just really turning my pocket deuces into a bluff, because he can have 9s, 8s, 7s, 6s, 4s that he will fold to this overbet. Possibly even a queen. And he did indeed fold. Okay, we are done. Let's have a very quick look how we have done, and why are there no... Oh, this is it. Okay, so we are just back in positive territory after all. We were quite high up here, and then I punted it all away. But at least everything is in positive territory. So thanks for watching, and see you again next time.